Today's video is for our veterans and the people who support them. I have documentary proof that while the Canadian government was actively encouraging our veterans to end their lives with the help of the state, Canadians who had heard what the government was trying to do to them expressed their outrage in the form of letters and emails en masse to Veterans Affairs Canada. And I will share some of those communications with you today.
I was prepared to be killed in action. What I wasn't prepared for, Mr. Prime Minister, is Canada turning its back on me.
Why are we still fighting against certain veterans groups in court? Because they're asking for more than we are able to give right now.
Today's story is made possible through your generous crowdfunded donations to a special access filing website, rebelinvestigates.com. It provides me and the Rebel News team with the resources and funding we require to hold the government to account for the things they do and say behind closed doors when they think nobody is watching. Well, we are watching. Now, all of this is how I became aware of the Prime Minister's office's involvement around attempts to control and spin the messaging when the scandal of Veterans Affairs caseworkers offering Canada's veterans euthanasia as opposed to the help and care the entire Veterans Affairs bureaucracy exists to provide to the very people who have signed up to give their lives in defense of this country and our shared ideals. Now, the scandal broke thanks to brave individuals, veterans themselves, Kelsey Sharon and Mark Meinke, and many others, who used their platforms when veterans confided in them that when they had called their caseworkers desperate for help, they were instead being told it might be their final act of service to the nation to just go and drop dead.
He was asking for a completely separate service and supports for neurological injuries. And she said, oh, just by the way, if up the road you have suicidal thoughts, and this is what he told me she said, it's better than blowing your brains out against the wall.
I have nearly 10,000 pages of records obtained through access to information filing that I'm going through, where bureaucrats speak with cold calculation about the lives of our veterans. It's hard to read them, but it must be even harder to know as a veteran that the state, the one you served, was trying to kill you. Now, I'm speaking directly to our veterans right now. You must know that Canadians were with you, because I have pages and pages and pages of emails and letters and phone calls that Canadians sent to Veterans Affairs, horrified that the department had failed you. So I'll read some of them today. I will publish even more, but I think it's important that in the midst of all this darkness of your treatment, to share with you how much support you are receiving behind the scenes from regular, everyday Canadians who have never met you. So let's read some of them together. These letters are coming from the public into Veterans Affairs Minister Lawrence Macaulay's office. Dear Minister, I have never written an email in my life to a minister thinking it is an entire waste of time. In this instance, please allow me to call for your immediate attention and intervention in the case as reported today, where a Veterans Affairs employee suggested medically assisted suicide to, and then they've redacted what is going on with the soldier. This is absolutely sickening. I actually support the MAID legislation, but whoever the employee is needs not only to be terminated, but should never be allowed to work with vulnerable people again. As the daughter of a long-serving military family, I am always alarmed and never surprised at the continual mediocre treatment Canadian military members receive at the hands of most governments, not just this one, looking to use my vote wisely. Name redacted. We've got another. Sir, good morning. I am a veteran and was completely caught off guard by the Global News article that VAC staff suggesting veterans consider medically assisted suicide for what they are going through. Why would a VAC member do this, especially if they aren't a licensed doctor? I know many members that have mental illness and struggle each day. I am also one of those members that has, and then it's redacted, peer support groups where discussions are had about coping with struggles. I have lost a few friends to suicide over the last 10 years, and I was once suicidal as well. Supporting members through their struggles is far more rewarding for everyone than suggesting they consider suicide. I advocate on a regular basis for our members, serving and retired, to get help. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for my peers. I give back to them through advocating for change and asking them to put up their hand for help. Below is a video that I recently did for this reason. I would love to discuss how veterans and members struggle on a regular basis and how we can work together for a positive outcome. I can be reached with this email and would really love to discuss a better approach with you. I'm not looking for anything in return except to help change the perspective people have on mental illness. Cheers. Another email to Lawrence McCauley. I'm writing you with great concern about how your department is treating veterans. Most recently, an incident has come to light with one of your caseworkers offering assisted dying to a veteran in need of care. How dare this be allowed? The buck stops with you, Mr. McCauley. You should publicly apologize for this. As a veteran of many tours of duty and a serving police officer of almost 30 years, I am lost for words. I hope you consider apologizing for this incident and ensure you only treat veterans with respect and dignity. Lord knows when I retire from the CF in the coming years, I hope Veterans Affairs will be there to help me for my sacrifices and not offer me help to die. Here's one more. Again, to Minister McCauley's office. What is going on in your ministry? Sort it out right now. I know that the Department of Veterans Affairs' unofficial motto is deny, deny until they die. But I never thought Veterans Affairs would take an active role in trying to kill us. Not sincerely and with no respect. And then we've got an email from a Conservative MP, Frank Caputo, expressing outrage upon what he had heard as well in media reports. It has come to my attention that a veteran seeking access to treatment from Veterans Affairs Canada for, and then they've redacted the condition, related to their service was reportedly offered entirely unprompted access to medical assistance in dying by a VAC employee. By its own admission, VAC is not mandated to recommend medical assistance in dying. It was only after multiple complaints from the veteran then an apology was offered for this deeply harmful act. An investigation must be opened to determine the full scope of this incident and to discover if others have been similarly harmed. Veterans and their families often reach out to Veterans Affairs Canada when they are in an exceedingly vulnerable state. An employee's unprompted recommendation of medical assistance in dying is outside of VAC's mandate. More concretely, it betrays the support veterans often require in situations of vulnerability and potential self-harm. I expect you to take swift and decisive action on this matter and to ensure that all Veterans Affairs Canada employees are following the mandates and policies of your department. Sincerely, Frank Caputo, Shadow Minister for Veterans Affairs and Associate Minister of National Defense. There are dozens of emails and phone call transcripts just like these ones. Canadians care about our veterans. There's such a wide disconnect between everyday Canadians and their federal government. Unfortunately, it's not just on this issue. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. I am continuing to go through 10,000 pages of records from Veterans Affairs Canada on an issue they say is not systemic policy, and the investigation is prompting more access filings. To help me with those, please consider making a donation at rebelinvestigates.com.